Hello and welcome back to another update. It is your host Union. In this one, the Russians have managed to, following the capture of Lyman, gain full control over Minrad with flags raised throughout the city just yesterday, regain full control over Rodynske on the northern flank of Minrad. The Russians have infiltrated the city of Leman, and they have managed to reveal some positions that were geolocated of the forces still operating within Kupyansk, within the apartment complex buildings in the western parts of the city, as well as in the southern parts of the city, and in some of the positions in the central parts on the eastern bank of the Oskil River. With this, the Russians are still spread throughout the city, and according to the Russian forces operating within the city, it's only a matter of time before they regain control of it. In the month between the Russian capture of Pokrovsk, which happened on November 22nd, the Russians have since then gained 100% full control over Siversk, Lyman, Rodinske, and Minrad. They are still fighting over Kupyansk, but as for the other five, Lyman, Pokrovsk, Minrad, Rodinske, and Siversk, they have confirmed the control over these 5 cities over just the past month here at the end of 2025. And if nothing else, this really shows what sort of year 2026 will become if they keep up the trend that happened throughout 2024 and 2025. The biggest success the Ukrainians have had really since the Kursk incursion, or even earlier since the Kharkiv offensive in 2022, the Kubiansk offensive might be ending in a similar manner to the Kursk offensive, because the Russians were geolocated to be present in the apartment complex area in the northern parts of the western portion of the city, where they still have control over pretty much everything of the apartment complex buildings, as we see with the geolocated footage, where the Russians are present throughout the city, as well as in the eastern parts, where fighting continues over the highway, which the Ukrainians recently recaptured on the eastern flank of the city. And the Russians have reportedly also still been present in the apartment complex area in the southern parts of the city. What this shows is that despite the initial Ukrainian success, the Russians are still present throughout the city. They withdrew to the apartment complex buildings, and as I said on the day 1 of this Ukrainian counterattack, if they really want to regain control over Kubiansk, it is extremely important for them to gain control of these apartment complex buildings, but it is very complicated because of the Russian firepower advantage. The Ukrainians are attempting to swarm the city with a lot of infantry and equipment to gain control of it with rapid pace, where the Russians will be threatened in terms of their supply situation, the manpower available in the area. However, the longer the Russians hold out in these apartment complex buildings, and the more artillery, FAB bombs, and drone strikes that come on Ukrainian forces while they hold out, they will eventually be able to win a battle of attrition, because the Ukrainians really do not have any specific weapon that is powerful enough to clear these apartment complex buildings of Russian forces. Their objective is to starve them out or to clear them in face-to-face battles, both of which are extremely difficult, while the Russians always have had the FAB bombs for the past few years, allowing them to completely clear these apartment complex buildings, was constantly striking them with high-yield bombs, while the Ukrainians do not have counterparts to that. Even their glide bombs are not as powerful as the Russian ones, where the Russians can drop an FAB 3000 bomb and an apartment complex buildings will practically disappear. And even with that advantage, it still took the Russians over a month to gain control over the citadel area in the southern parts of Pokrovsk, the Shakhtarsky district. Yet we see that the Russians practically hold on to all of the apartment complex buildings still in the western parts of Kubiansk. Although the supply situation is extremely complicated, the Russians can sacrifice drone strikes for resupplying the forces with these drones and still make use of heavy artillery and FAB strikes on the Ukrainian forces storming these apartment complex buildings. So the question here will be, do the Ukrainians have enough forces that is necessary to enforce this encirclement and eventually clear all of these buildings, or will the Russians eventually regain control over the city, regain the upper hand, and push the Ukrainians out and reestablish the supply line into the city? Well, the Russians are certainly very confident. As for the Ukrainians, they have already celebrated the recapture of the city several times. So the attitudes do not really show who's winning because both of them are very confident. But what we do know is that these geolocated footages are what confirms the current situation. We do see the snow in the footage, which confirms that it is recent footage because it was snowing in Kupyansk just yesterday, and it will be snowing over the coming days. So any footage coming out without snow in it will likely be old footage, while the snow in it will show that it is new footage. And this will confirm whether the Russians or the Ukrainians come out on top. However, what is certain is that the Ukrainians still don't have the most important areas of Western Kubiansk under their control, although they have managed to make a lot of successful advances over the past month. They do not have some of the most decisive yet, and that is the intersection in the southern parts of Kubiansk and the apartment complex areas within the city, which will determine who gains full control over the city in the coming weeks and months of fighting throughout it. Although the counterattacks in the northern flank of Kupyansk have significantly limited the supply lines of the Russians, the exhaustion of Ukrainian forces may allow the Russians to regain control of them and re-enter into the city from the northern flank, re-establishing supply lines. So the question is not whether the Ukrainians can recapture these positions, but whether they can hold on to them for long enough time that the Russians will eventually starve out within the city and the surrounding areas. To the north of Kubiansk, the Russians advanced to the south of the Rodynske, gain control of additional forest patch and forest line areas, where they are clearing the supply line connection between Kamyanka and the Rodynske for further offensive operations in the western direction towards Kubiansk. As for the Leman direction, geolocated footage confirms Russian presence within the central parts of the city. According to whoever uploaded this, this is footage from the end of November, which shows that the Russian DRG units have been active within the central parts of the city for over a month, and fighting continues throughout it, with the Russians looking to clear the eastern outskirts and locate positions where they can establish a foothold and then expand their zone of control within the city. The southern parts of Leman has apartment complex buildings, while the northern parts are regular housing units, which means that the southern parts is the more defensible areas of the city, more difficult to enter into, but if the Russians are able to establish themselves within it, then they will quickly gain control over the entire city. To the southeast of this, along the highway between Siversk and Leman, the Russians have managed to gain control over a large portion of Zakitne. As we see with this geolocated footage, the Russians are now fighting over the fortified positions on the southern outskirts of the town and the western portion of it, which will then allow them to gain control over the entire highway from Bakhmut in the south, which connects down to Donetsk city. So from Donetsk city, the highway up through Orlivka, through Bakhmut, through Soledar, up towards Siversk, and then through towards Leman will all be under Russian control, although a buffer zone still needs to be established from Reznikivka and westwards towards Kaliniki, and then up towards Trivavaluka, through to gain control over Dibrova and Ozerne, and at that point the road would be clear for Russian forces to drive all the way up to Leman. To the south of this, in the Mynnerat direction, the Russians have managed to gain full control over Rodynske following the Ukrainian counterattacks towards the city. The Russians have completely cleared it of Ukrainian forces. This follows the capture of Mynnerat and Pokrovsk, and with this the Russians have control over the three cities here in the area, allowing them to reorganize their forces and push in the direction of Reshene and Belitske, as well as up towards Dobropilia, beyond the city in the northern and western directions. Ukrainian counterattacks in the direction of Sokhetsk and Setishok will likely be countered as well very soon, where the Russians will be establishing their positions along the highway itself leading in the northern direction and developing offensive operations in the northern and western directions from these cities, establishing Mynnerat, Pokrovsk and Rodynske as logistical hubs for future operations. An interesting technological development according to the Russians is that their Tornado S system, which is an MLRS that has high range and high firepower, that mostly was akin to the HIMARS system. The point at which they differed was the guided rockets. The Russians had the same range and the same firepower as the HIMARS system. The problem was the accuracy of their missiles. They did not have the higher level of guided missiles that the Ukrainians had with the HIMARS system provided by the United States. However, according to the Russians, they have just now developed a guided missile for the Tornado S system, which allows for these guided rockets to be used of their own production. And this means that the Tornado S system would be mostly an analog to the HIMARS system, which means it is practically the same. Russians have hundreds of Tornado S systems, MLRS launchers, which means that if this is true and these guided rockets have been developed, well, then the Russians would be much more powerful with regards to the frontline battles, because these MLRS systems have significant range. They're able to not just strike frontline positions accurately within a short period of time, which means any detected Ukrainian soldiers would be struck at a much faster rate than a FAB bomb would strike with these MLRS systems, but they could also strike deeper behind Ukrainian lines, especially the crossings across the rivers, such as the Leman direction. The bridge here has been struck multiple times, but Ukrainian pontoon bridges created through the Donetsk River are still holding strong, which is difficult for the Russians to strike. However, with this new technological development, the Russians would be able to accurately strike these pontoon crossings whenever they'd attack them, and this will significantly affect the Ukrainian supplies across the river lines such as the Donetsk and Usk rivers, which will limit the Ukrainian offensive and defensive capabilities for the logistics of the forces on the eastern banks of the Usk River and northern bank of the Donetsk River, which means the Russians will gain a significant advantage on everything north and east of this line here. So if this technological development is true and it can be mass produced, well, the Russians have gained yet another powerful weapon in this conflict, which fills a gap that will significantly strengthen Russian offensive capabilities. And that is going to be all for this update. Thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, check out my Patreon and YouTube membership for additional content. Thank you for watching and have a great day.